Hi, everybody. It's almost that time. Didn't realize my hair was that messy.
All right. We are.
And I said, I need to. Maybe I was going to write a letter about that.
It looks like the king's throne over there at the college. Hey, everybody.
It's
Nick.
Hey, not bad. How are you?
So far, so good.
So far, you're looking good.
Thank you.
I don't know.
I think the boss man's coming, but it looks like they're in a different space.
Okay. So I'll suggest.
Sounds like a board meeting.
Yeah.
That sounds a little boring.
Yeah.
Okay.
Spotlighting you. There we go. Now that's more fun.
Hi. Yeah, good.
We look so well dressed.
Well, good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Welcome, good morrow to everybody who came today. We're excited to have you as always. We are watching for the groundhog to emerge, and if she sees her shadow, oh, here we go.
I am not a groundhog.
Fair
Thank
enough.
you so much for being here. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, live translators. I don't know how you do it, but please keep doing it. And thank you, Geshe Michael, for making this possible, for supporting us, for keeping this extraordinary program running. It's so much fun. I can't believe we keep doing this again and
really
again.
doubt when you say that, but okay.
It really is.
It's amazing. It's a really cool thing we get to do. Without further ado, I give you Stanley's homework.
Stanley's homework it is.
Great. Thank you,
Wonderful.
Stanley.
Thank you, Ben. Hey, Nick. Good morning, everyone. Good morning,
Hello, my
boss.
friend.
And good evening.
Okay.
It seems like
Hi,
Geshe. Hi, Geshe.
Sorry, I'm directing traffic here. I guess you guys are watching on your own device. Okay, sorry. All right. Can you make sure our Seattle friends have such a device if they wish? All right. Stanley, go ahead with your homework.
Okay. So this homework is
Looks like a nerd.
content generated style. So we have to work together, meaning I didn't put it in the Q&A style because I need your help to figure out the structure of this book. Because in the last class we were playing with different lists, the list of Master Asanga, the five topics of the five chapters of the book, the five Samuchayas, and then we were playing with the six topics of the book by the commentator, Master Gyaltsab. And somehow he managed to connect this six with the six topics by him, and the five chapters by Master Arya Asanga. So I'm confused. I tried to figure it out, but I couldn't. So I want to work with all of you. And then we can review it quickly. That's basically the homework for this time. So let's check this. Oh, let's start with the five chapters. It's more. I think we are more familiar with it. Can you tell? Can you see the words? Is it
Yes.
are they big enough? Okay. Okay. Well, let's start with the five chapters. The first one is Tseni Kunle Tupa. Anyone remember anything?
The definition of compendium.
Yeah, the compendium of definitions.
Yeah.
Yeah, of like, yeah, or qualities, a summary of definitions. Yes. And then second one, Demba number Gewa, Ngewa, Ngeba.
Ascertaining the truth.
right, ascertainments of truth. What's in the English word ascertainment? We used it a lot in the last class. What does it mean to say it simply?
You could say to know or to see, or the word ascertain is related to the word certainty, as in coming to certainty about something like the truth.
Oh, I see. Like to kind of confirm the meaning of things.
Yeah,
Yeah, right. And it can also mean to know something, to come to know something, to come to a certainty for yourself.
Ah, okay. Yeah. The Chinese has something similar. 抉择. It means you. Yeah, basically what we just talked about. Okay, and then yes, the second one is the ascertainment of the truth,
Nice. Yeah.
and then Chernamba Ngepa.
Nice.
Recording in progress.
Does it mean recording in progress?
No.
it's more like the
Yeah. It's
So
still
Just coming to know the Dharma, the
right.
teaching.
Yes. Yes. So the Geshe used the word perception,
Mm-hmm.
but
sure.
in Tibetan it's the same word, right?
Yeah.
It is, but context is everything.
Yeah, true. And then the chapter 4 is Tokpa Namba Ngepa.
Mhm.
Yeah,
to
coming
achieve
to
it.
know, what is to be achieved, perhaps.
Yeah.
Tokpa, yeah, right. This is a common word in Abhidharma, it seems like. Estimate of achievement, yes.
Mhm.
Uh-huh. And then Dralway, Tanambar Ngepa Kunde Tupa.
Hmm.
This is a little complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Speaking
is
on the
ascertaining the connections within the compendium or something?
I think so, yes. Word, are you going to say something similar?
similar, yeah, just Tom on what the connections discussed
Yeah.
to ascertain within the compendium.
Yeah. Let me see what we got. Estimate of the interconnections of the discussion. I guess it's between the different topics of the chapters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Well,
So
we're gonna long story. There's 3 different
Yeah.
words. Okay.
yeah, they yeah. So I'm not gonna go too much into this because I don't know what they are talking about yet. We just went through the names of the chapters and what it mean briefly. But now here's the confusing part.
I
It
thought
would
the
be
other part was confusing enough.
yeah, that too. It would be really nice if Gyaltsab just followed these 5 chapters and comment on it, but he didn't. He said actually there are 6 points or 6 main topics of the book. Instead of the 5 chapters, he said 6. And you could identify the 6 major things discussed in this book in those 5 chapters. So let's go through this 6 quickly. Yung Sung Shep Drewei Ngupotang.
Yeah.
What's the
What you should know, totally.
yeah, right.
Mhm.
We should grasp thoroughly.
Mhm.
Second one is Yung Su Sheba Wei Duntang.
The
The meaning that you
objects
should
you should
grasp.
understand. No, the objects.
It's
Um,
already a little confusing. Like things we should know, we should grasp, and the object that we should understand.
Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe one is an urging that it's important that we come to understanding, and the second one is what that is that we should come to understand.
Perhaps.
Or
Yeah.
one could be like functional things, and the other one could be sense objects, like something more specific even.
That's
right.
true. We won't know until we get there. So
Okay.
Right.
yeah.
But for example, in the chapter 1, Well, I mean, Arya Sangha talked about all those category things from
Mhm.
Abhidharma, like 5 hips, 12 doors of sense, 18 categories.
Mhm.
And then later he will go into like the four truth, and there's 16 aspects. Maybe they're different
Yep.
kind of objects or things we should understand. Yeah. And then Yungsu Shepe Gyutang.
The cause of totally awesome understanding.
Right. Yeah.
And
Huh?
And
Right.
Oh. Yeah.
Like a cliffhanger one.
Yeah, the cause. The cause for deep understanding. Yes. And then Yungsu Shepe Gerald.
A wisdom which deeply understands.
Interesting.
So here it's talking about the, like, in terms of subject and object. This is
Seems
the
like
subject, right? The wisdom, which
Oh, cool. That would be interesting.
Mhm.
I'm just guessing. Yeah,
Oh.
but what Geshe said last time is the wisdom that helps you understand everything.
Mm.
You know
Okay.
what? Wisdom is the understanding things.
You would think, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
We'll
Yeah.
see. He better explain it.
Wow. Yep.
He's got some explaining to do, as Ricky Ricardo said once.
And then so topic 6, Yongsu Shebe Drebutang.
Nice.
Oh, the
Result of
result of
understanding.
totally awesome understanding. And
And okay. Yeah, the result. I guess is coming from the wisdom or the understanding, like maybe achieve. Remember we talked about the Tokpa in the chapters. Maybe that's the one, the ascertainment of achievement. And then the last point is te ratu rikpa tang juk.
It looks like it said the 6 kinds of super wisdom or something, super knowledge.
Super knowledge.
No, I think that's just adding up that there were 6 just listed.
Yeah, I think so too. I think so too.
Oh, what did you say, Anu Upala?
Sorry, that the 6 there is just meaning that the things that came before it.
It means total of 6. 6 here means a total of 6. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, but is this correct? Ratu
super knowledge.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
Yes, knowledge. Yep.
Oh, you see, it's already confusing because we just talked about wisdom and the results, and then now it's super knowledge again. Seems like there are more.
This will all be clear in the next 40 years.
Oh, that's great.
I wouldn't worry much about it now. Seriously.
Okay. Okay.
If you guess, you're wrong. I'll guarantee you. So.
Yeah. Okay. I guess I'll just save some time because I try to combine these 2 lists with this complicated equation thing, but I'm not gonna go through here. It doesn't make. Yeah. Basically that's it. So we talked about these 2 lists in the last class, and then Geshe, you asked Word to do some homework.
I forgot what I asked for. What did I ask?
Word, do you want to do your presentation?
Stanley, he's waiting for some moolah. That's what he's waiting for.
I would is it was your class that had the Sungrab Chuni, Stanley, the 12?
Whose class by the way, I taught it's the 12 categories of Buddhist teachings. There are 12 categories over the 2,500 years. And I taught it in 2016 at Diamond Mountain. And I spent like a month on it or something. And I put the notes in your book, Stanley.
Oh, great. Okay.
But did I ask Word to do that also?
You asked Word to mostly distinguish 2 things. Let me see. Not the whole 12.
Okay.
Or do you remember the details?
I just did the whole 12, Geshe. I was at the teaching at Diamond Mountain as well.
Hmm,
Do you
hmm.
want to go through the 12?
Sure, I can do it very quickly as not to take too much time from Stanley's class.
Well, it's part of Stanley's class, and I would like to make it an appendix in your book, Stanley.
Great.
We haven't had the 12 categories. The first debate I ever had, I studied for 8 years with my teacher in a Mongolian temple. I went to the debate ground in the Geshe course the first night. And by the way, they said, how many years you were with Rinpoche? I said, 8 years. They said, okay, we'll put you in the 8th year class. And they put me in the 8th year class for debate. And the opponent is now the holder of Tsongkhapa's throne, okay? My opponent. And he's the head of, a couple million people. And he's an extraordinary scholar, and he wiped me out. And then I went to the monastery and I said, I want to start at the beginning. I want to start over. I want to cancel the 8 years of work. And they said, okay, if that's what you want. And I started over again. Anyway, this was the debate, was the 12 categories of Buddhism, of Buddhist literature. So it's dear to my heart. So anyway, Word, let's let Word do it. And then let's see how it goes. And then Stanley, in the reading, I inserted the notes from Diamond Mountain. It's about 20 pages. Okay. And you should make a nice appendix out of it because it's very, very, very important. So Word, you want to try, and then I'll interrupt you liberally.
Of course. So actually, well, can I share screen? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go.
Don't forget our broadcasting, where we are broadcasting, Word, okay? So,
Okay, I'll do my best with the content.
okay.
Okay, no problem. Here we go. So again, I basically took a footnote from the Golden Key because it was mentioned in the Golden Key.
All right, okay. What is the goal?
The Golden Key is the best book that has come out in thousands of years, apparently. on the mind.
Yeah, and that was translated by Word for 8 years, and he finished. And he's quoting his own book. Okay, all right.
Yeah. So, we had the Tibetan, and I added the Chinese and the Sanskrit for people who are interested. And here's our footnote. Shall I read it? How shall I?
I think that would be nice. Yeah.
Okay. It's called the Sungrab Yenlak Chuni. Chuni just means 12. Yenlak can mean link, part, branch. Here it means just like parts. Sung means like the word of a holy person, like the Buddha. And Rab means the highest. So this is referring to these teachings.
So if you take all the teachings for the last 2,500 years, each one of them will fit into this structure somewhere. There's 12 types of teachings, and it's extremely important in Buddhism. These are the 12. There's no Buddhist teaching which doesn't fit into these 12, but they're very difficult. Okay, go ahead.
And the interesting thing I got about it from one of the interesting things I got about it from the Diamond Mountain teaching in 2016 was it's not any given teaching can have these as the heart of the teaching. They're not exclusive to any teaching, meaning these categories aren't all encompassing for a particular work. It means a work can include this sort of subject matter. And that I found significant.
Can I use the 12 styles of teaching?
Kind of, it is. And here, and this is, Geshe said it here. These 12 traditional divisions of Buddhist teachings according to a mixture of subject matter, format, and style.
Yeah, the confusing thing is that, when you make a division of a thing, you should do it by length or by subject matter, or by teacher, or by era, or something like that. And this traditional division mixes all of those things in a very confusing way. Okay, so that's the point. Don't expect it to be strictly logical. It's not. Okay, but it is a very, very standard traditional teaching for thousands of years.
Mm.
Yeah, and our reference is from Master Hari Bhadra's Illumination of the Jewel, which is a work I'm not familiar with.
Mhm.
And it's these are the traditional names for each divisions, and they're somewhat obscure, but they are nicely explained as follows by the great Mongolian Chujing Pelden, who's one of our heroes. Lamp for the Jewel of Realizations. That's the text. And
He
so
was he was born around 1800, and he was from Mongolia, and he was a great. He wrote in Tibetan language, and he was a extraordinary thinker, and his presentations are kind of Western and logical, very straightforward. He wrote a lot of great books. He wrote some Vajragini practice also. He's a great author. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, I like when they call him the savant. Meaning he's some kind of crazy genius. So here is the 12. This is an entry from the Great Dictionary, which is a fairly good reference for definitions. I got the Zhongwen from there to help our audience. And so here are the 12. The first of these is just sutra, which many are aware of. And those are generally, there's different ways to classify them, but here we put original, concise prose presentations of the teachings.
I think the important thing to say about the sutras is, a friend of mine, Art, they translated it as discourse, and I like it. They are oral. They are oral teachings. Normally, a sutra was taught in a meadow somewhere or a garden somewhere, like the Diamond Cutter or the Heart Sutra, or like that. So, yep.
Yeah, totally. This one, oops, these are musical expressions. Yankee nepe de. We had this word recently. It means like some kind of expression, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, these are sutras which presentations are embellished either at the beginning or the end by verse. Also, any sutras which are not to be taken literally, which could be almost all of them, depending. This
Can we say like those verses in this Samuchaya where they summarize things? Are those like this? Can we say
yeah, even though the
yeah?
Samuchaya on a whole isn't considered a musical expression, those portions would be
Yeah, those
considered expressions. Yeah.
right.
This is Lung Du Tenpa, which just means some kind of prophecy or
Yeah.
pronouncement. And these are, the Buddha was known for this kind of thing, explanations concerning how people die and move on, where they will take rebirth, like what's their karma. Amazing example of this is in the Wheel of Life. At the end, someone's like, but Buddha, why did all that stuff happen to those people? And he gives this incredible explanation of each person's fate and why it occurred. Also, any sutras which are to be taken literally. This is Siksuchepa, which are many verse presentations, things in
Good.
verse, poetry. Chetajupa, which is a cool, I think one of the coolest features of these teachings, which are teachings for particular audiences in particular, meaning like design for specific people depending on where they're at in their practice and life.
I like the word targeted nowadays.
Yeah.
They are teachings that were targeted to certain audiences. So he changed his presentation according to the audience.
Yeah. And Stanley, is this Shuo like teachings that are for you? For
I don't know yet, but it literally means 字 means self, like myself.
yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
These ones are cool. I really had a ball with these in Allison's text. They're Lengshis. And
Mhm.
it's what
Yeah.
what naughty thing happened where Lord Buddha had to make some rule. And they're usually kind of fun stories, kind of
Yeah.
like fables or something, like in the sense of there's a moral at the end or something.
Background stories. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like why did Buddha have to make this rule? And there was an incident. And these are called stories of incidents or something like that. You know. Somebody
Yeah.
missed and Lord Buddha had to make a rule. Yeah, Stanley.
Does this kind of style of teaching include like Buddha's own mistakes? His stories of
Yeah, many. I'd say 50% of the mistakes he describes in original incidents were his former life.
Mm,
Yeah, and he's criticizing himself. You know,
mm,
he's criticizing who he used to be.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's very beautiful in a way. Yeah.
Yes.
cool. This is Topa Jupa, meaning revelation or realization, something on that nature.
Yeah.
Yeah, something to illustrate a particular point.
Yeah, and oftentimes nowadays, Abhidharma, right? It means the story of the lives of a bodhisattva, the multiple lives. So, what did he do in his first life? What did she do in her second life? What happened in the third life? Like that. Those are called Topa Jumpa Abhidharma. A famous one is Udayana, which is the king for whom the wheel of life was drawn. And then the story of his life is in, and there's a famous collection of them called Abhidharma Kapalata, which is an old Indian work of like 100 Abhidharmas. And they're very beautiful and easy to read in the Sanskrit. So it's a popular book to study Sanskrit from. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Databu Jungwas, and these are accounts, teachings where correlations between certain activities and their karmic consequences are described,
Nice.
which I love, because you can extrapolate.
What's the literal meaning of the name?
Just like that. That's how it happens, just like that.
Yeah, it happened like that. The name of the category is called It Happened Like That.
Mm.
Again, these are all categories of all Buddhist literature fits into one of these categories.
Good. This is what kind of Stanley was talking about. Usually they say K-Rab. This is the full name, Kepe Rabki De, which is usually stories of the Buddhist past lives, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Jataka is very famous. And then Shintogepa, these are these are extensive teachings of the path of the Bodhisattva. I'm not as familiar with that category. This one I love, Meta Jungwa. These are like miraculous tales, like magical powers and strange occurrences.
Strange but true.
Yeah, but true. And this is Tenapapa, which literally just means presentation. But it's definitive accounts, detailed descriptions of either the general or specific defining characteristics of specific entities.
Mhm.
Yeah, and we had a note as well in our text, how Jason Kappa, how he put these different groups together.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it, man.
Nice. Yeah, well done. Nice. Yeah. Those are the 12. And it was just a site, it was just we could have just skipped it. We are mixed nuts, and we don't let the 12 anything go without finding out what they are. Okay. So nice job. Let's go back to, can I share my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, nice job, Word. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's well, someone was awake during that presentation 8 years ago.
It was fun. Me and Hasso were trying to memorize all 12 in the car together afterwards.
Oh, nice. Yeah. It's frustrating because they are not logical. The divisions are by different criteria. So it's not, it's like dividing the colors into square, round, black, it's confusing. It's very confusing. Okay. All right. That was just a single piece of a sentence in our text. And we got to get back to work. Oops, that's a different one. This is an ethical essay someone's writing. No, we got to go to. I'm sorry, Stanley. Let me get your text up. Okay, cool. Let's see here. Oops, sorry. Yeah, there's where we stopped last time. We covered. By the way, here's the notes, Stanley. They start here, and those are the Kunle Tupas. So the whole book that Stanley's working on, which was written 1,700 years ago, is called Samuchaya, Abhidharma Samuchaya. Samuchaya means a collection or a collection. And then confusingly, each of the chapters is called a Samuchaya. And that's why we got in a little bit of confusion here. Let me see here. Are we past that, Stanley? Let me see. Yen log. Hang on. Yen log. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So here's the 12 categories of scripture. And I gave you my notes from 2016. Okay. And they're in bold here. There's the 12. Here's Ngong Belden's commentary, the original commentary, and all his comments. And then there's an example of each of the 12 categories. And it's very, very detailed. And I think it would make a nice appendix to your book. It's too long to add inside the book. And then I gave an example of each book. So like, here's a prediction, and then I gave you an actual example of that book, okay? For example, this is the White Lotus Sutra. This is the Lotus Sutra is an example of number 3. And you get a real example of each of the 12. And I went through and I worked really hard on that. It took me a few months, I think. So it's like 20 pages or something. And if you're bored, you can study it. Okay. And I think it would make a nice, I don't think we've had it in any other book yet. And one of the purposes of our translation project is to have resources that people can use as reference books. If you want to know. So there's all the notes on it. And someday we can translate just the categories and the examples. We don't have to translate the whole comment. Okay. But it's about 20 pages. Something. Let's see. My wife hates it when I scroll down like this. She's gonna make me blind. By the way, the Kangyur mentions the 12. Lord Buddha mentions the 12, which is interesting. Lord Buddha was involved in the classification of Buddhism, okay, which is cool. All right, we finished those 12. We might want to look at those 5 kundus, which you did, Stanley. You went through the 5 different compendia, or the 5 sections, which are each a summary. And we are here, I think, right? So let me give you a good cursor to follow. Yeah. Okay, good. Okay. Start here, Stanley. Can you read the first one? Dela?
Dela dene tok sangong sunki sherap jita njube su tang chipa dena shindu gewe deni dunche shin zowo yin zowo yinbe chet raktuk chene gapa zento.
Nice. De la Tene means based on that, which I'm not going to scroll back 20 pages and get it for you. Wisdom in three versions. What do you guys, the 3 steps to gaining wisdom? What are the 3 gaining wisdom? To samgong. Yeah. To means shruti, which means classroom hours. It means just, by the way, classroom hours is a perfect translation. It's how many hours did you sit at your teacher's feet, and that's a direct correlation to how much you can practice. Okay, how many hours did you dedicate to learning these things? And there's no replacement for it, and there's no way to skip it. It's called shruti, and it's how many hundreds of hours did you hear? And there's a direct correlation between that and how much you can do in your life. Okay, some, yeah. I always say that could be done in the car on the way home. You can think about it. Then gom, you shouldn't do in the car. Yeah, close your eyes. Okay, so wisdom in 3 stages. Jita Jukbetsu, how does that wisdom engage? Is taught, and then Shindugepe means more detailed scriptures. Dunche, they are very important, and so on. So the 8,000 verses of the Perfection of Wisdom, these major works, what we call major works. In Tibetan, they're called, what's a major work in Tibetan word? $100. In Tibetan.
Yachir?
Huh? Say shung.
Shung, yeah.
Shung means either a major highway or a major scripture. And it says you got to attack the shungs. You got to go for the major scriptures. Okay. We're translating a book right now. We're putting out the 3rd book this in the last year that we finished after 8 years is Lojong. It's a book of Lojong. And those Lojong works are not typical for our translation group because they are purposely short and they are purposely easy. And it's kind of interesting to work on it because we don't have any other easy short works. Okay. And he says here, the main books you have to commit yourself to are the shun, the major important books like Abhidharma Samuchaya. Okay. Chidatu Chene Gyapatendo, and you can break it down into smaller pieces and digest it that way. Okay, that's not a problem. Like 5 compendia, right? Okay, Stanley, you want to read one more?
Yeah, sure. Topa namnge ki shejajita wa tangjik ngepa nam sunra dene topa chebe den ki kansaki raktu chewatang dela yewatang ye dela ngumtok jikta kepe rimpa nam den ching tepa chemboy kansatang de ba chewe lam sogo yimpe che raktu che ne tangto dento.
Yeah. So Stanley's text, who wrote it, by the way?
Asanga.
Yeah, Arya Sangha, one of the great 5 books of Maitreya. And I'm sorry, who wrote down the 5 books of Maitreya. This is a different book. And it's called Abhidharma Samuchaya. So Abhidharma was the 700 years of teaching following Lord Buddha's death. And we call it in DCI the
Accountants.
accountants. We jokingly, we call them the accountants because they are dry and methodical and slow. And okay, for 700 years, they took over Buddhism. And then they were overthrown by Nagarjuna, okay, at the same time as Patanjali, the same time as the Yoga Sutra was written. So Topa, his Samuchaya, his collection of Abhidharma teachings, early teachings, he spiced it up. He did it from the mind-only point of view. And it's a whole different book. It's an amazing book. He took a dry book and he turned it into a revolutionary book. And Stanley is translating both books, which is really cool. So Samuchaya is a collection or a compendium. And there's inside the Samuchaya, there's 5 Samuchayas. Okay, that's what Stanley was outlining with his mind map. Okay, so the 4th of the Samuchayas is figuring out Topa, Stanley. First word here. Yeah, how do you achieve things? Okay, like nirvana or Buddhahood or stuff like that. How do you achieve it? Okay, and that's divided into, to understand how to achieve nirvana, you better have a good background in Jitawa, and you better have a good background in Jinyepa. $100.
The way things look and
Yeah,
all things there are.
Okay.
The nature of things and everything there is in existence.
Yeah, you can say how things are and how many things there are. And that's a different thing. When you say he's a Mr. Know-it-all, Kunken, synonym for Buddha, it's the meaning of the word Buddha, Mr. Know-it-all. Do you mean he knows every single thing in the universe? Or does he understand patterns of all the things in the universe? Like, does he actually see all the rocks on Mars? Or does he just understand in a grand way the structure of the universe? Which one do you think?
Both.
Yeah, he has a grand insight into how all things are. And then he has a particular perception of all the things there are. So Jitawa means a grand perception of how everything exists. And Jinyepa means every single rock on Mars. He sees individually every single rock on Mars and every other planet. Okay? So Buddhists have both. Got it? Okay. Surabteni, and his teachings reflect those 2 things. He teaches you how to understand in a grand way the universe, emptiness, and all the things that have emptiness. And then he teaches you how to perceive individual objects individually in the universe. Okay, got it? Okay, so we're going to talk about this then. What's Grandpa's favorite translation word? $200.
A refrigerator.
Huh?
A refrigerator.
No. You owe me 100.
Body and mind.
Nice, Kramer, $200. But as I always say, it goes directly into Ezra's college fund, and you cannot get your fingers into it. Okay, that's his fun. Yeah, Den means the home base, the headquarters from which you do your spiritual practice. So it means what your equipment, your spiritual equipment, which is your body and your mind. Okay, you can do yoga with your body. You can go into retreat with your body. You can use your mind to understand emptiness. You got to have a good den. You got to have a good physical body and mind. Okay. So he says, we're going to give the divisions of the concept, the type of people who can practice Buddhism. Okay. And they have to be special people. They have to have a healthy body. You know, you can't be distracted by back pains and cancer, and by the way, you often go from one to the other. You start out with a healthy body, you don't practice, then you get cancer, and then it's too late to practice. And then you call Geshe Michael 10 years after you stopped coming to class and ask him to save you in the last 2 weeks. By the way, which cannot do. I get these requests every day, every week, so don't wait, figure it out now, okay? Because it's coming. All right. Thank you guys. Up to you. The divisions of people. And how do they get nguntok, Stanley?
Ngun. Oh, ngun. Like affliction.
Yeah, samaya. How do they get their understandings, realizations? Okay. And we studied the Abhidharma Samuchaya. Okay. How do they give birth to their understandings, the stages by which they get their understandings? And then we're going to cover the Tekpa Chembo Kazakh, Stanley.
I don't know.
Yeah, Mahayana people,
Great.
Mahayana person. And the path that they drupa word
That they
travel,
first.
the path that they travel. All of these are subjects in the fifth Samuchaya. All of these are subjects of the fifth Samuchaya. Geshe, we already forgot what was the fifth Samuchaya. It was like 10 minutes ago. It's the Samuchaya that summarizes how you reach your goals. Topa namnge. Say topa? Namnge. Topa? Namnge. Okay, good. So, I'm sorry, that's the fourth of the five Samuchaya.
Yeah.
Now we get to the fifth Samuchaya, which is the final Samuchaya. Why are we covering all the Samuchayas at the beginning of a 40-year project? Because we're at the beginning, okay? And we won't get to the fifth one for 20 years or something, okay? But we're just looking at the outline of Stanley's very, very famous text. And we chose this text because it was found in the caves at Dunhuang in the Gobi Desert. It's a book from 4th century India, one of the greatest books that were written in Buddhism, and a copy was found in Dunhuang caves. So that's why we chose it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You in your Geshe studies, you didn't study a lot of mind-only books, right? But is this one of the few that students study in the Geshe program?
It's frequently referred to and never studied.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I mean, it's too big. It's a 20, 30-year thing. So we study the highlights of it, but we don't study the book itself. Okay. Okay. Who's going to read, Stanley? Pick on somebody else.
Okay. Hey, Dodo, I'm in the same city with you.
Oh, Shanghai?
Yep.
Oh, really?
Yep.
My turn.
Now that we
Uh,
walk boardwalk.
별 담남기 기실람제 부태 탁지달 덴라 what is that? 아사
배우?
페페 수텐토.
Yeah, nice. Sultento. Okay, good. Now, Stanley, I think we mentioned this before, but the fifth and final section of your Samuchaya, which means the fifth sub-Samuchaya in your big Samuchaya, is called Beltam. Say Beltam. And sometimes it's called Gyaltsab. Say Gyaltsab. And sometimes it's called Yandakbetam. Say Yandakbetam. Yeah, Tam means conversation. Okay, Tam is, you don't see it a lot in scripture because we don't have conversations because we're too busy. But Tam means conversation. Okay, the colloquial term for conversation is droleng. You see it here. Okay, droleng means to sit down and have some conversation. Okay, so Tam means a conversation, talk, have a talk together. And Bell is Bell is a very difficult word. If you spell it differently, apostrophe BREL, Al Baratabat, Al Baratadadimudinmanindel. It means connection, like in somebody's book. In Sigang's book, okay? Dependent origination or interconnectivity is del. Okay, so deltam can mean connected talk, or what's the thread of the conversation? What ties the conversation together? Okay, got it? Deltam is an ancient word for having a conversation. And in this particular ancient book, they confused the two. They mixed them up. Half the time it's Jaltam, and half the time it's Beltam. Okay, and then other translators in Tibet called it Yandakbetam. So there's 3 different words used for the same thing. And it's going to be, I think the main emphasis, Stanley, is kind of gel. In my mind, it's gel. Gel means when we get to this Samuchaya, which will not be for at least 20 years, it'll talk about, generally, when you talk about scripture, you should talk about how one topic ties into the other topics. And you should draw some kind of mind map in your own mind about the interconnection of the conversation. So a really good Buddhist student who gets a teaching is drawing. We call it we're doing a course on AI right now. We're writing a course on AI right now, and they call it the interconnect. What do you call it? Recombinant intelligence. Okay, recombinant intelligence. It means how can you recombine topics in original ways that an AI cannot do yet. And a great teacher or a great thinker or a great meditator has a capacity, recombinant capacity. They can make really cool connections between completely different topics. And that's what this is. That's the 5th Samuchaya. It's his AI. Okay, it's an AI function. It's what AIs are still have to develop, but it's very interesting to be with the child as he learns. As the AI learns, it's very interesting to watch them. Okay, and they'll get good at it eventually. All right, here's some notes, Stanley, and we're gonna see in one of your readings that this Sankatya, which is the Sanskrit for Beltam or Jaltam. So ancient translators use the 2 words, Beltam and Jaltam, for Sankhya. Sankatya means conversation in Sanskrit. And some translators of ancient Tibetan took the sam in the Sanskrit and translated it as Yandakpa, which means really good. Okay, got it? So there's 3 different words for the last category of this huge encyclopedic scripture. And this scripture is very unusual because it ties Abhidharma to mind only. Yeah. It ties the guys of the first 700 years to the guys who killed them later. And they do a cooperation in this book. They work together. It's unbelievable. Okay. All right, Stanley, who's going to read?
All right, let's see. Chloe. Oh, maybe. Is there a problem if Chloe in the room can read?
It is a problem, but she's here. You can come up and bring a chair. No, actually, she's a great help, Stanley.
I mean, yeah, of course.
One of the most helpful people around.
Yes.
Okay, go for it.
I bring.
Here's your cursor.
Okay.
You can cursor Stanley also if you want. Young. Go slow, go clear.
Yang Kunle Tu Ba
Dude,
Duk Ba Ba Dang O Shi Rang Ki Sheja Jitar Ngay Pei Hop Lam Shwe Bu Tang Chepa Tenla Kunle Tu Nga Pei Rang Ki Nga
Meaning.
Rang Ki Ngay Ne
Good.
Du Cha Sen Je Su Chen Pei Top Ten To
Top 10. Nice.
Top Ten To.
Okay. You can hang on if you want. Stanley might make you read another line, right? The first she of the Kunle Tupas. Stanley.
Kunle tu.
Kuntu.
The companion, yeah, the first she. The
She. What's she mean? BZHI. Yeah. 4. Okay. The first 4 of the 5 compendia, right? The first 4 of the 5 chapters, basically. Okay. The first 4 teach you the top
Achieving.
method. We had it in this week. Top Kipa, Upaya, Papaya. No, Upaya. Yeah. The method for ascertaining shejas.
Stuff.
Yeah, all the stuff you could ever learn. Okay. The first 4 Samuchayas, the first 4 chapters of this huge book teach you how to understand things. Okay. And it gives you the path. Path means understanding here. And it gives you the dribble. Yeah, the result of understanding those things. So the first 4 Samuchayas are helping you figure out stuff. Okay. So what's the 5th one doing? Kunle Tupangapa, okay, or the Ngape. The 5th one, which we said was discussion, right? Beltam, conversation. Ranking as a verb, you guys. Ranking as a verb.
You yourself.
Yeah, you figured out yourself. Verb, you figured out yourself. And then you Jesu Zimba other duljas.
Bring your students along with you.
Yeah, then you bring your others. You go out and find students and you help them to follow you. Okay. So that's what the 5th Samuchaya 10.
That's what it teaches.
That's what it teaches the way to teach other students after you figured things out yourself. Therefore, it's called what?
Discussion.
Nice. Yeah, therefore it's a conversation. Got it? It's not a conversation with other people. It's a conversation with your students. Got it? Cool. All right. That's why it's called the Book of Conversations. All right, cool. I think Stanley, Chloe was begging to read another one. I don't know.
I can hear that. Yeah,
Okay.
I guess.
You got that. Incorrect, Stanley. Grandpa's resting.
Okay.
Sunpa
2 minutes.
Sikdong Jade Sol Ni Sik Chikdong Dumala Jukpa Pongpo Shepa Pongpa Tang Drakpa Tang Dongpo Tang Shagni La Jukpa Ka Wu Tang Kai Wu
Hydra.
Hydra Setbatang Newa Sokla Jukpata Po Uo.
Okay. The third. So Vasu, in a strange way, Asanga went to Vasubandhu for the divisions of his book. Who's Vasubandhu? His half brother.
Yeah.
Okay. Who wrote the Abhidharma Kosha? And I'm okay. And then he says he's following, strangely, the older brother is following the structure suggested by the younger brother. And don't forget, the younger brother offered to cut his tongue out because he had wrongly criticized the older brother. Now the older brother's asking the younger brother who almost cut his tongue out, could you give me a structure for my book? And he's like, yeah, cool. And here's the third section proposed by Vasubandhu, which is, and by the way, who later came out of the closet as
Mind
only.
head of all mind only. I mean, the master of all mind only school, much higher school. He came out of the closet late in his life and wrote these unbelievable books about mind only school. Okay, so Tsikden Chetso means how do you che the Tsikden, Stanley? Che is a form of the verb shepa. Ship. B-S-H-A-D. Explain. Yeah. How do you explain the meaning of words? Okay. The third topic of this huge encyclopedic book is how do you explain the meaning of words? Okay. And then he says, Sig Chik can jupa to many duns.
One word can expand into many meanings.
A single word can apply to many meanings. Okay. And then he gives an example. The word pungbo. It's heaps. Like the 5 heaps, the 5 components of a human being. Okay. He says, number 1, it can mean pungpa. A pile of and I always think of the leaves, the oak tree leaves that I had to rake for my teacher for 24 years. He taught me Pumba this way. Okay, so huge pile of stuff, Pumba. Or Chakpa. Anybody? Quickly, we're out of time.
Blood section?
Chakpa means shoulder, the shoulder.
Oh yeah.
And in ancient Sanskrit, skanda also means shoulder. So skanda means to pile up stuff on the floor. And skanda also means your shoulder. Okay. It also means dongbo.
A tree trunk?
Yeah, a tree trunk. It also means a tree. Skanda also means a tree trunk. Skanda also means anything with chanyi.
2 parts.
Anything with 2 component parts. Okay. Like body and mind. Okay. That's also called a skanda. Okay. Then you've got Taija Sepadanyewa. Okay. Taija means the ends of your hair. Sepa means they wear out. And then maybe they come back. But anyway, this pile of older men's hair on top, you understand? Is also called skanda. Okay, skanda. Okay. The disarray of an old man's hair is called, you should see my hair. That's why I don't take a shower before I go to bed. Because it would be a disaster. You know? Okay. So that's also called skanda. It's called a big messy pile. Okay. So Kappa used Pumbo as Jana Pumbo, a mountain of blessings. Okay. So anyway, Jukpatabuo means one word can apply to many different meanings. And that topic is the third of Vasubandhu's 5 topics. Okay. How do you explain the meaning of a word? And that's extremely important in Buddhism. Okay. They have so many meanings. Sanskrit is like clouds in the sky. And 3 people will see the word completely different. And they'll say, oh, look, there's a ship. And somebody else will say, no, that's the cockroach in my auntie's closet. And somebody else will say, no, that's ice cream. And Sanskrit is famous for being like clouds. Okay. All right. Okay. We'll stop there. Stanley, you're going to lead a discussion of why this could possibly be relevant to us. Right. And then, by the way, you're going to translate the next paragraph, Dunchik, and the next paragraph, Suksuyupa. And you're welcome to use word if you need.
Yeah.
Because it's a master of words. Okay, Grandpa's going to go sit down.
Wait. One last thing. How did we jump to the meaning of words from the last paragraph?
because Vasubandhu said, if you want to understand this work of my half brother, you better be sensitive to the fact that the wording can have many meanings depending on the reader. Okay. One of the topics you're going to have to master, said the half brother, the younger brother, said, if you want to really understand the older brother's book, you better understand one thing up front. One word can apply to many meanings, and maybe purposely, so that different students at different levels will get different teachings from the same words. That's really unbelievable. Okay.
Oh,
Cool.
he was just explaining about the words conversation, right? And
No, this is a different. These are not the Samuchayas. This is the third of Vasubandhu's 5-point outline.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a different file.
But in the last paragraph, we were talking about the fifth chapter.
Yeah, and we finished. Yeah.
Oh, we jumped to the next topic. I see. Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All
right. I'm gonna go sit and eat popcorn, and you're gonna have a conversation, and then cool. In 10 minutes we'll hear the exciting news of our organizations around the world. Okay. Right. Bye.
Thank you, Geshe.
I'm gonna leave screen on. No, I'm gonna turn it off, and if someone comes up to talk to you, Stanley, I'll put them back on. Okay, bye. We miss you, Stanley.
I miss you too. Okay, we have 9 minutes. Nick and Ben, do you have anything to say before we start? No, all good. Okay, cool. So what we just did. Let's see. Yeah, we reviewed the 5 chapters of this book, and we talked about the 12 categories or 12 way to divide different teachings by Lord Buddha. And then we jump into the meaning of the last. What does it mean to have a conversation? No, sorry. The Gyaltsab said the first 4 chapters of this book are mainly to understand things, different topics, and the 5th one is how we can learn these things and teach our students. Then we came to this place where Master Vasubandhu talks about how the importance of understanding words in different ways. That's where we are right now. We went through some lists as usual in these classes. Anyone have any insight from any list or any part of the list? Did you get anything from it? Anyone want to share something? Some inspiration? Anything? Lindsay.
It's already on. Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Okay, cool. Yeah, the list, all I have to say is that it was cool to be reminded of like what all is out there, and you can kind of think what would be helpful for me today. Like as we were going through it, the one that stood out for me today was about the teachings on the different karmic correlations, and I was like, oh, I want to go home and like look at some of those. And so it's just nice to like get a full list, get a reminder of all the things that you have available to you. So that was helpful. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. In my experience, karmic correlations and the stories are usually one of the first things that attract people's attention to this wisdom. Yeah, to make them understand what's the meaning of the actions in everyday life and what's the result of those, which is important to know. Yeah, cool. Thank you, Lindsay. Anyone else? This class is so exciting. So many lists.
Stanley,
No.
I could
Oh,
share.
Aisha. Hi.
I was feeling that this thing about the categories
Mm,
is really like a key point, because we really first seem to need to learn how to really put the shelves and really that structures our mind, that really put some kind of like axis, some structure to the whole teaching that the Buddha wants to give, or that we have to eventually learn. But if we just learn things and we don't have the categories, the structure, to me it's really a teaching these days, trying to understand the shelves we have to later start filling in with everything we're learning, everything we're understanding, and I say, oh, this goes here, this goes there. And then that gives us like a real understanding of things. So I think it has to do with something very crucial and important that for sure in the beginning of a book, we're gonna get. If not, it's not just a ball of ideas that we don't know really how to put together and then really put into practice.
yeah, great. Thank you. Thank you. I totally agreed. Yeah, I like this map thing, like to know where we are right now and where we can go in the future. What's the routes in the map where we can travel through different topics. Those really give me comfort when I study these ancient books. Like I know where I am. It feels good to have them. And then
yeah,
and then you can easily pull different parts out and use it for yourselves or for other people. It's really cool. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Any other insightful idea? We have 4 minutes.
There comes somebody.
Hey. Uh-oh. It's the fixer.
Hi.
Hey.
I like so when we were going over those 12 and when Word was talking about them, it just reminded me of all this. I love stories. And I love how we were talking about in the fifth one, how you sort of like the fifth Samuchaya, how you sort of like, how do you connect? How do you put all of those things together? How do you connect to your life, really? And so in like 96, I was in New York City reading Door to the Diamond Way. And in the back, there's all these, the footnotes are the best. And there was things like, you know, if you learn this, you could get these magical powers of like walking through walls and speed. And I'm Irish and mystical. And I thought, oh, this is amazing. It's just all of these things which can reach any student at any point, at any time. They're all available there. And so all of like the lingshis, is that what it is? Like the stories of the original incidents. And so I often connect the teachings to stories and then how they apply to my life at different times of my life. And so I think as we're, teaching, we have to do that, as we're teaching us to somebody, trying to find something that resonates within us in order to sort of like help anyone else who's sort of like where we were, 25, 10 last year, months ago or something like that. So that's what I super enjoyed those. So, yeah.
Thank you, Rob. That's funny because I just talked to someone in Guangzhou who also studied this system, and she's a kind of famous designer who has a lot of creative ideas. But she told us that what got her into this path is when she learned about all the categories of things in the world. That blew her mind. It's nothing mystical, but very thorough. But she had a mystical mind. But when she heard that, you can actually learn about all the categories of everything in this universe, then she's like, and it's like all these 12 can attract different students, in the best way it could. It's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and often they're very pragmatic and very sort of like just do the following steps to reach this goal.
Yeah. Geshe put this 12, as Master Suga mentioned in the chat box earlier in the class. He put this 12 and make it into 12 ways of thanking people and receiving gratitude. That's something we can think about. It's a cultural mining thing. It's in DCI, Sugan, right? It's in DCI 12, as you mentioned. 11?
Disagreeing.
You agree?
DCI 12 up to 11.
DCI 12.
Yeah.
11, yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. When I saw that, I was like, whoa, how you can connect these two random thing together and make it logical and helpful for people. That's very cool. That's we can learn to do also. All right, I think the time is up. Where's our famous world news MC? Hey,
thank you, Stanley. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, live translators. It's great. No, I don't have anything important to say. Just thanking you. And we have, is it true? Do we have Petrie World News standing by?
I think so.
Yes. Here I am.
Good. Okay. Wonderful. Thank you, Juan. All you. Take it away.
All right. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Stanley. Geshe Award. Thank you so much. So today is just a quick reminder that may help you to organize your year if you are interested to attend live or online as well to many of the upcoming events for this year. We would like to start from a few teachings that Geshe Michael himself is going to be teaching around the world. And number one is very close, it's coming up very soon. It's going to happen in April from the 12th to the 21st. This one is going to happen in Arizona in our wonderful, beautiful retreat in Diamond Mountain, Bowie, Arizona. So you still have time maybe to plan for this trip. It's maybe like a month from now if you want to make it. Oh, I think actually now, because it's so successful, you will have to camp if you want to be there live, but you can always take it online. Those are the latest news are here. Maybe things change, but you will have to contact them to check. There it is in the chat. It's sold out except for camping. So you call camp, I have camp, can be great, depends on you, but you know it's coming up on April the 12th to the 21st. After that, Geshe Michael will be again in this kind of series, The Steps on the Path. He will teach in Mexico from July 26th to the 28th. Wonderful country to be, Mexico. This time, the Mexican organizers are testing a new location, and they are going to try to surprise you all very soon with more exciting news. Apparently, it's not going to be in Guadalajara, but somewhere nearby Mexico City. You will get to hear more about that soon, but you can use the QR code if you are, so excited to find out. Next, after the Mexico, following in this series, Geshe is going to be going to Kyoto, Japan on December the 2nd to the 7th. And I have heard great things about Kyoto, about Japan in general. Great projects are being cooked there. So you can also plan ahead and get there. So these are the teachings on the series of the Step of the Path for this year. But now we want to share a few very, very close events happening connected to the Worldview Network. As you may know, Ward Smith is teaching a course on energy medicine. We are starting tomorrow. So you have maybe your last chance to sign up, could be today. I think the course is going to be great. It's going to be made out of 5 classes through, I think it's 2 weeks on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So check it out. Probably it's going to be very, very cool. I have already signed up. Thank you, Ward. We are excited to see how it is. Then on March the 17th, the Sedona College of International Management is launching the level 10. You can still go for the application for Impossible Anger. Noor was talking about this a few days ago with us during our monthly program. It seems that it's going to be very, very cool. She was inviting people to register. If you're interested, you can do the QR code, and we still have like, let's say 5 days, 6 days, about a week for this to start. So you're still in good time to check it out, starting on March 17th. And Noor is also running this cool project that Geshe Michael and Veronica came up with. Is the Michael and Veronica Roach Foundation. They support all kinds of altruist and very, very nice projects. If you want to sign up for their mailing list, you can use this QR code. Then you're going to start getting more information on the new events, what's happening, what new projects they may be supporting or fundraising for, or, just coming up in general. I think this is it. Oh, yeah. Now, one more thing. You can still make it. Yeah, there is going to be some other teachings. These are being organized mostly by Tim Lowenhop. He's going to be teaching some courses on Kyoto starting on March 19th to the 23rd. Yeah, I think it's a great chance for people in Asia to get there, get to spend a nice time in Kyoto. The spring is coming, and hear these wonderful, wonderful, beautiful teachings. If for any reason you cannot make it this time, there's going to be another one in June. So you can start planning your schedule. You can start planning your trips details, and maybe see you there in June. Okay, so now we have a special interview. A very good friend of us, very famous. You're going to know, you're going to recognize him as soon as he appears on the screen. He's going to tell us a little bit about himself and a very cool event he is planning in Taiwan. Is Gibson around?
Hi, Juan.
Hello, Gibson. How are you?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. How are you?
Good, good. Good to see you. Good to see you. Thank you for coming to the program. Very good to see you. Finally, we were able to schedule with you.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
My pleasure. So the purpose of this little talk is a little bit for the people and the audience to get to know more about the translators that are part of the Mixnot team. And also for, of course, to get to know what you are planning these days. What are other projects you are cooking, preparing for this beautiful world? So maybe can you start telling us a little bit of your personal story on when did you first, maybe let's say, how did you ever first meet these teachings? And then how did you develop an interest in translating, and then you make it into one of the Mixnots?
Okay, so we can start the story from the 2011. And
Okay.
in that time, I helping my family run the small business. My mom and my dad, they have a noodle store, like a noodle restaurant in my hometown. So since I'm young, I'm helping them to cook the noodle and wrap the yunten. Yunten. Have you heard yunten before?
No, but I
It's
didn't
a-
know you were a
It's a
cook.
Chinese special noodle.
Great.
Yeah, and in that
Uh-huh.
time, and I don't know what to do, and my dad suggested me to go to his friend's company and do the insurance. And one day I just sit there eating the brunch, and one guy show up and say and give me the name card. And after a few days later, I bump into a sharing, and a lady on the stage start to share the book called The Diamond Cutter. And in that time, I don't know what to do, and I don't know the purpose of my life, because I see my dad work so late and work so hard. He usually work till 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. In the midnight. And he usually visit the hospital. And so I am thinking, what's the purpose of my life? And I'm so glad in that time I read a book. My friend and the lady introduced this book to me. So I just Google it online and happen to know that one of the Geshe Michael student, Nimbo, he's coming to Taiwan. And I have a chance to hear and know that Geshe Michael is coming to Taiwan, have a DSI level 4. And since that, I start to volunteer for the event, for the organizer. Yeah,
And what
and
happened?
after a few years later, they announced their special event in Mexico, in your hometown, Guadalajara. And
Oh.
that's a very mystical experience for me because I never been to abroad, and this is my first time to Mexico. And in that time, the event is held in the Tequila town.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's very beautiful chapel.
Yeah.
And it's like a paradise. And I remember everyone is do the aqua yoga and play the music and going to the teaching. And that is the first time I learned Dongrin in Tibetan. And I remember in that time, Geshe is teaching the Xiannian Denzu, how to rely on your teacher. And I'm so amazed by the teaching immediately, and I also attracted by the language. So in that time, very few people attended, and I have a chance to work with, to sign up a section with Geshe and to ask how to learn this language. Yeah, and after a few years, they have SCN training, and Emily is applied the SCN, and I also applied SCN. But unfortunately, I'm being rejected by Seiji.
Me too.
Yeah. And I'm so jealous about Emily. And so Emily, like, she could go to have the training. But after that tour, Emily tell me, do you know they have another program upstairs? It's called Mixed Nuts. And you can learn the Tibetan and you can learn the ancient language. And he say, and you don't need any interview. So I said, yeah, definitely I want to go. And so Emily sort of one of the person who introduced me to the mixed nut program. So I joined that time, and I immersed myself in the scriptorium and Prince on Sea. And I have to thanks for my first Tibetan language teacher who showed me how to read, and he also tutored me for several months.
That's wonderful, Gibson. Thank you for sharing. I didn't know that story. I appreciate it very much. So everything began in a noodle restaurant. That's wonderful. And then you get a book out of nowhere. And then you got this, find out that some people were coming. Great story. Came to Mexico, meet Geshe. That's wonderful. So congratulations, because I think you have learned a lot of Tibetan. I think you're getting really good at it. So thank you very much for all the work and energy you're putting into helping this planet. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And speaking of that, I hear from you that you're planning a very cool event. You're helping to organize this event that's happening in Taipei. You wanna should we show the video first, or you wanna talk about it first?
Yeah, I will talk about for 30 seconds.
Okay.
Because in the past, Geshe can come to each city once a year. But right now, due to a lot of programs happening at the same time, maybe he can only come 3 or 5 years at one time. So Max, our organizer in Taiwan, he have a thought. Maybe we can invite other teachers to come and teach us at least crucial wisdom. And so we plan to invite at least very holy teacher, Jebila, to come and teach us how to do the meditation to build out our habit of meditation.
Okay, so we're gonna show you the video. It's wonderful video. Congratulations for the production team on that video. Let's check it out.
Here we are at this place where people need something that gives them a meaning other than going to work, making a ton of money, and raising their families. The rapidity of our life is just ridiculous. The whole online dynamic of life in an instant, where we can call anybody in a New York minute, that's magical, but it's also stressful. The movement of our actions on the planet have exponentially gone higher, and it distracts us from other parts of our personal growth. So I think people are looking for answers other than fixes. We're creating everything that's happening in this room from something from our past. You are the one that determines exactly where you'll be. You are responsible to yourself to design what you would like and remove what you don't like about your existence here in your life. We're projecting our reality. And those practices that were taught and given to us were proven over thousands of years to be the functioning systems that could potentially transform your body and the perceptions of where and how your reality really functions. You get deep tastes of that. Follow your passion. Don't lose your dream.
Wow, thank you very much. Amazing, amazing production video. It looks like the, how to say, trailer for a documentary. I really, really like it. So if people are interested to attend to these teachings, who should they talk to? Can they contact you, or who should they contact?
And they can search the social media for the mining club, and they should find the events link.
Okay, great to know. We'll talk to you again soon to know how things are going or how did it go. But thank you very much for spending some time with us, Gibson, and for sharing your personal story, how you went to become a translator. And we want to wish you the best luck in this career you're beginning. Now, yeah, thank you very much. And we'll go back with Seiji and Geshe Michael for the next class. Thank you.
It looks like they're getting in position now. Thank you so much for an awesome presentation. It looks like people are ready. That's not Seiji.
It looks just like Seiji, but it's a little bit better looking. Mr. Kramer, do you mind if we sing a happy birthday song to a certain Ellie?
I'd be so happy.
Okay, here we go. Anjali's gonna lead the song. One, two, three. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you,
Ali.
Happy
birthday to you.
We're gonna eat the cake for you, okay? Don't worry.
Okay, but we have,
Ellie, I
you
got-
have to make the wish. She makes the wish, you blow the candles.
Tell us when we're ready to blow.
1, 2, ready? Are you ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Yay!
Choose a number between 1 and 400, basically.
222.
222. Hang
Yeah.
on, find his glasses down here in this pocket.
That's one of my favorite numbers because it looks like 3 swans swimming in a row.
Oh, okay. Let's see what it says. Oh, so actually, that page is a picture of the road to the institution where Drumton J, which Drumton J built with the Lord Atisha. to study mostly Lojong. Okay, and it happens to be the place where they taught Seiji's book. And Seiji's book is his first book, which he spent 7 or 8 years on, is about to come out. And so I don't know how you chose it, but thank you for the advertising time. And it's called The Crown of Knives, and it's 8 years of work, and we're just finishing it this week. So cool. All right.
Cool. Happy birthday,
You
Ellie.
must have a